Hey, welcome into the Mystery Fifth Hour, presented by McCurry Van and Car Rental. Jim Dunaway waving like you've never seen him before, like he's just some random guest that stumbled into the studio.
That's my Forrest Gump wave.
Oh, okay.
That's my boat.
Like you're waving at Lieutenant Dan. What's he say to Lieutenant Dan, Rockstar?
Magic legs.
That is Rockstar.
Titanium.
That's
toughest stuff in the world.
You're Gary Sinise. That's one of my favorite Rockstar imitations is Gary Sinise's Lieutenant Dan. Titanium.
She tasted like cigarettes.
Gary Sinise has disappeared, has he not?
Well, he does a lot for the military.
He does.
Yeah. And I know
Like,
he's
that's his
very
big
political,
thing.
but I'm just talking about as far as like
Acting.
film.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything from him
I think he's a
lately.
good actor. You think he's a good
Yeah,
actor?
yeah, I thought he was really good in that. Snake Eyes, not so much, but yeah, I think Gary Sinise is good.
He's a good bad guy in Ransom with Mel Gibson.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was.
he was. You're right. That is Lance Taylor, Rockstar. I'm Ryan Brown. McCurry Van and Car Rental brings you the Mystery Fifth Hour. They've got all kinds of vehicles to choose from. That includes trucks, SUVs, and passenger vans. They make it easy to rent. They get you in and out fast. Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, and Coleman on 2nd Avenue Northwest. Also, Skyline Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Reserve your rental today, 256-559-1003. That is 256-559-1003, or visit McCurryRentals.com. Lance has brought this topic to the table. We are going to today, Lance, discuss awkward moments from our history together, just from the show. You may even go back before me and Dunaway are with you.
Yeah, well, no, I was going to do it with the four of us.
Okay.
But there are some obvious, some involve guests and some involve just us talking on the show.
I wonder if we'll have any crossover, but I think all mine are guest related, actually. Dunaway, do you want to give us a start here? Or
No, I truthfully thought I would be the genesis of most of the awkward moments, so I really did not prepare one. So you're telling me...
Dunaway thought we were doing the show about him.
When I
do
saw
one
the
real quick?
list, I was like, all the awkward moments were just things I had said to people.
Yeah.
Okay, well, for just not writing a coattail on that, but we had Montana Fouts on, and Dunaway said, I love that car. Can we see your back seat?
He did do
Yes.
that, yes.
And then Josh Pate the next
Even
day
she
showed us his
laughed.
back seat.
Yep, Josh Pate was watching it.
Yeah, that was awkward.
Yeah, even Montana laughed at that one.
I thought the one all time was going to be the shoes comment at the car dealership.
Oh, we weren't done with you.
Yeah, we got time. Let it breathe.
Don't rush
I mean,
through
is this a
Jim.
roast all of a sudden?
Let's don't rush through
Am I
this.
Bruce Willis? I'm going to sit
I've
up here?
actually only got a couple directed at you. More or just.
Was yours the foot?
So
for those
I
that-
didn't actually even think about the feet. one.
Yeah, so for those that don't know how the joke about Dunaway's foot fetish began, it began at a local auto dealership when was it the advertising agency?
Yeah, so how some people might not know how this works, but there are agencies that place media buys for different advertisers, and these two media buyers, young females, and they are a lot of times or were in the business, and
Well dressed.
Yeah, and so I think it was early, like spring months, May maybe. And so they came in and they had open-toe shoes on, and I introduced Dunaway to both of the girls, the media buyers, and the first thing he said was, "Boy, you both have nice feet."
Oh, I did not. I did
yeah,
not.
you
It
did.
gets missed. And I said, you guys have fantastic shoes on.
No.
Yes.
No.
This changing
This
the
has
story.
changed over the years.
I mean,
it was fantastic.
Was it
shoes.
feet or
You know,
shoes?
I don't, you weren't even there that day. He was
I
off.
don't think I was there. This
was
was
off.
recounted to me.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It can be remembered.
It was
however
not
you want to be
shoes.
remembered. That's not what I could
No.
do for you. But what,
No, shoes would have been just kind of like, that's kind of a weird comment. What made it so awkward was it was their feet.
how about if I did this? Did I say, man, you guys have fantastic shoes on and great looking feet?
Maybe.
That
I just
could
know
have
the
been
feet
it.
thing was in there, and that's what really jumped.
Could have been it.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Now,
I
you've
comment
always-
on shoes a lot.
As we say, Dunaway has a foot fetish. You always say it's a good female foot fetish.
Yeah. I don't have a foot fetish. I just think bad female feet could make a woman very unattractive.
Well, it's just like, I love breasts. I just don't like them on guys. It's a weird what are you talking about?
Yeah. I'm an ass man, but not really when it comes to Tom
Hey,
Cruise.
by the way, guys' feet freak me out. Freak me out.
Yeah.
I do not
You gotta
like
give
them.
him a shot, man.
It's
They're bad.
disgusting.
Okay, so I've got a
I
couple.
shave mine though to keep them clean.
Yeah, I know he does. He cut his toes. He came over to the pool
Oh,
wearing
Do you not
Band-Aids.
no, but seriously, do you not like when you wear socks? Like if you've got a lot of hair on top of your feet, it irritates that hair, so I have to keep them shaved down.
I trim it up a little bit.
I keep them shaved down.
I do keep them
They're
groomed
sleek.
now, but only when I go to LT's pool am I and my Brazilian on the toes.
My only other Dunaway one, and Dunaway was actually not involved in my own show once. He had an incredible off show that still gets referenced up here today. Is we had some advertisers in, and it hit, I don't know why, but the conversation had just turned awkward, silent. And the last thing we had talked about was some sort of meal and mayonnaise. You remember this, Rockstar?
Yeah.
So I'm going to, y'all don't say anything. I'm going to recreate the length of the awkward silence.
I missed it, unfortunately.
You did.
Because
You were not
they're
here.
clients of mine. No, I was here, and I had gone to the bathroom, and I said, I'll
Okay.
be right back. And that's when the awkward silence apparently started.
Well,
started.
they're standing there because LT has left them, and we're doing our conversation, and it involved one condiment.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I would
that's
have
right.
thought that you were a grown man and you could carry on a conversation.
I cannot.
So
I hate silence.
Here is the length of the silence, and you see if you felt it was awkward. I'm going to give you what I approximate, Rockstar. You were there, the length of the silence.
You're
All right,
going to
here
make this shorter than it really is.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
All right, now that's about the length
that
of it,
was
right?
about it, yeah.
And then Dunaway says, so you guys like mayonnaise?
I mean, I guess.
The guy was like, oh.
We were talking mayonnaise.
I just
in the
can't
conversation.
believe I missed that.
So good. So you guys like mayonnaise?
And then I come back in and nobody says anything until the clients leave. And then once they leave, I get the back end of the story.
Really, Lance, you missed.
So when we started doing this, obviously no FCC regulation. And you guys will probably forget this until I tell you, and you probably didn't think about this being one of the awkward moments. But I think I've done a really good job. I think I've said fuck 3 times on our show, 9 to 12.
Oh, if it's that many. I don't know that it's that many.
I think it's 3 over almost 3 years.
Okay.
But Charles Barkley comes rolling in here, and in the first segment, 6 F-bombs.
Yep.
And everybody, I was kind of laughing because it's Chuck, and I don't even think anybody in the chat room said anything.
We got 0 complaints that I'm aware
But just looking around and just viewing everybody else involved in the operation, it was just kind of a moment of silence like, oh my God, he is bombarding automatic weapon going through this.
What was funny was I don't think we ever told we told Chuck hey, we're not FCC regulated. You can say whatever you want. It's just he had a sense that he could come up here and do anything now that we're not FCC regulated.
Well, I think he had a beer in his hand. I think
did.
maybe we said, hey, I think he said, oh, you guys drink on here. And we're like, dude, you can do anything. And that was,
little did we know.
yeah, that was opening the door.
Yes.
Cracking the door that he ultimately booted open.
But I'll never forget. I mean, Lance is right. It might have been Rockstar the first 2 minutes of the interview.
It was 6.
Oh no, yeah, it was.
And there were 6 F-bombs.
Yeah, he was. We were just looking at you because he's right there, and you
Yeah, I
can't
know.
look at him.
I was
and
like, "Hey,
I
Charles."
was waiting for him to go. What are y'all looking at?
it's coming
What's the problem?
We're coming fast and furious here,
I think
Chuck.
he actually, he's one of those guys that, and we're watching Chuck right now as we record this during March Madness, but he's one of those guys that just doesn't really care.
I don't think he does.
But I think since he's been back on, he really hasn't. And it's almost like he felt the awkwardness.
Yeah, I don't know. But you're right. He's come back on numerous times since then and has not dropped an F-bomb since. Now, I think the majority of mine go back to our radio days. I know, Lance, you have more. I guess we could just kind of rotate around. Jim does not have any, so we'll just go in order here.
You had a really good one with the feet. I wouldn't have remembered that one.
Yeah, that was good. I'm sure more will come to mind. These are awkward
I
moments
really
on the
thought
show.
they were all going to be about me.
The 2 of mine involved comedians. The first one was Ralphie May.
That was one of mine.
Yeah, so everybody had that one?
No, well, I think you give him a bad rap. He is a funny comedian. He was off that day, and he saw that you guys weren't laughing, so he just decided to go, I'm going to go shock humor now.
Yeah.
And then
He did a joke that included, by the way, Jesus Christ
Yes.
and Chick-fil-A. And I'm like...
And Tim Tebow.
And Tim Tebow, if you had included, there's really nothing else you could include. You took a shot at Jesus, college football, and the most famous restaurant in the Deep South.
Yeah, if Nick Saban had been doing the drive-through window in his joke, it would have been it hit all
Well,
the hot
Ralphie
parts.
May, unfortunately, no longer with us. He had done our show the year before, and that was the first year the 4 of us had done a show. So with me and Rocky, he actually came in. He didn't make any Jesus jokes, didn't
No,
make
like
any
he's-
Chick-fil-A jokes. He was funny.
it's all about the crowd. If I see that I'm struggling, I'm telling these jokes, and these 3 guys aren't really laughing at me, I'm going to go. Now I got to go shock because he was on. We were doing Cafe Lazio every Thursday.
Yeah.
And he was there. He was debating. He's like, I'm going to try to come because
Yeah.
I'm sitting right at the Winfrey.
Yeah.
And so he was a super nice guy the first time. The second time he bombed. It happened.
And I
But
know
everybody felt it. He
Yeah.
felt it.
yeah.
We felt
he knew
it.
that. And I know you say I give him a bad rap, but really I was not the only one. Like that,
No,
his entire segment was terrible. I mean, there
It
was not
was.
one laugh He couldn't make us laugh. And
they probably didn't sell one ticket that night.
probably not.
He kind of messed up. He said, like, I had to speak to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm a good friend with Ben Rosenberg.
Rosenberger.
I love Rosenberg.
Me and Ben Rosenberger is good friends.
We were early in our show, though, if I remember, and I think we were still feeling out of
how the show goes.
How the show was going to go, and should we laugh at this, not laugh at that, at least from my point of view. So I didn't help him out with any fake laughs.
Well, look, the comedians can always be awkward. And one of the things you bring up, the Roethlisberger, is when they try to act like they know sports. It's much like talking to a woman that you start dating and she acts like she knows sports. And these conversations can get uncomfortable. And, Rob Schneider one time started talking about the San Francisco Giants, and he didn't really know what he was talking about. And it became really awkward. So some of these comedians set themselves up to be awkward. They just need to go on and be themselves.
Well, what's awkward about Rob Schneider, I've told the story before. Like 2 weeks before him coming on, he was on Sirius XM, and it was nationally made TMZ and everything because they made him wait for 2 hours in the lobby before they let him on. And so he started whatever. So he came in. We were supposed to, it was with Ian, wasn't it? He was supposed to come on at, if we were 10 to 2, he was supposed to come on like at 11 o'clock. He shows up at 9:55 and sits in that little kitchen we had on the second floor, and he's exhausted. He's a little tiny guy, and I was like, hey, Rob, we just started the show. We're going to have you on. And he's like, nope, I'm not waiting. I'm either doing it now or we're leaving. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, I'm not waiting.
Dunaway,
okay, well, come on.
I think Dunaway frequently confuses this with another comedian, but Rob Schneider was the one that kept pawing Lance's bag.
No, that's Pauly Shore.
Pauly Shore was pawing
Shore.
Lance.
Yeah, but no, Rob Schneider was the one that had the really small hands.
Yeah, but I thought he
tiny.
kept touching your bag.
He might have. I mean, Pauly Shore was
kept
actually touching me.
you.
Yeah,
That's it,
Pauly Shore was making a.
He was making an advance.
He was making a pass at you.
It was weird. I don't know. That was another awkward moment that I hadn't thought about.
Yeah.
I've gone home with people.
What?
I've gone home with people who've made less pass that I made less of a pass at than Pauly Shore was making at you that day.
It was
There was
awkward.
every commercial break,
but
he was back over on your side of your chair.
This was one of mine, and it's on this platform. And we were in Atlanta for SEC Media Days, and you bring up Ian. And I brought up that his dad had passed away, and he was like, nope, Judge is still alive. And, because we know Ian, we all laughed about it. But if that would have been anybody else, it would have been extremely awkward.
I just remember thinking, because I knew it was his brother.
Yeah.
When you said it, I knew the mistake you had made. But Ian just handled it and said, nope, not that I'm aware of. But the best part about it, because Rockstar turned it into a trash open, the best part about it is Lance said, well, anyway.
The quick reaction,
No, sorry about that.
Ian's a brother. It's not that big of a deal.
No, that was fantastic.
I've never understood this one, though. And for whatever reason, nobody, when I bring this up, will react at all. There's no emotion one way or the other.
Okay.
But a really good film last year, Sound of Freedom. Every time I bring it up, everybody goes quiet. And I don't get it. It's such an important film, but nobody wants to talk about it.
It was just like, after you brought it up, after you saw it, it felt like almost anything we brought up triggered you mentioning Sound of Freedom. And it was like...
but nobody would mention anything.
Well, I've not seen the movie.
Yeah, and I'm not going to endorse anything I haven't seen, but I was in Arizona on my honeymoon trip when it became the running joke on the show. I was gone. And so when I came back, you guys already had this thing going where you would bring up Sound of Freedom and everyone would laugh.
But I wouldn't I didn't bring it up to make it awkward. It was just a natural conversation because it was a big film at that time.
Yeah, but honest to goodness, for about 10 shows, you could have told me Sound of Freedom was a Sean McVay joint about the Rams and Dodgers and Lakers. You brought it up that much during about a 10-day
I just
period.
thought it was such an important film that maybe you guys would go see it. And I just thought it was really awkward when I would bring it up. I didn't get it.
I've not seen the movie.
It's like it's almost awkward right now. You're making it awkward.
I don't know what to say. What am I supposed to say?
It's an important cause. I do think there has been some things about that movie that they have questioned. Some things.
I'm going to turn my mic. Rockstar is at the off button.
It's child trafficking. I mean, there wasn't any individual that was pointed out.
Who's not against that?
A producer was had a little bit of problems with the
that was
actual
one
thing he was discussing. Eric Estrada for me.
That wasn't awkward. It was just.
I don't know.
You think it was awkward, Eric Estrada?
No,
No,
the awkwardness of asking, like, was Bruce Jenner supposed to be, and then like a 15-minute answer to get to the point where you guys you can't interrupt him, so you just sit there and listen to him tell this story about his life until he gets to Bruce Jenner.
It's one of those where you're like, And you do that so many times, just like, he's not going to stop. I may as well. I'm either going to have to be rude. And I hate to interrupt people, but I get it. I mean, the show's got to have some sort of pace to it,
All right,
right?
thanks, Clay. See you next week.
Yeah, I mean, I've had to do that before.
No, but I'll tell you, the Chris Katan, SNL.
That was it.
When we asked a couple of questions and he was like, are you just going to ask Saturday Night Live? We were just starting to do a show. If he did that now, he would get undressed and crushed.
We would. I would have enough. Since we own
We
the
ended
property.
the interview.
I know. We did. We cut
But
it
it
short.
would be
then,
now
too.
like, really, have you tell us what else you've done?
Yeah, you give us a question that's legitimate to ask you.
Or I tell you what, you interview us because that'll be a hell of a lot more interesting.
So for those that don't remember, this was back in radio, and it is my worst interview that we have ever had on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's Chris Katan.
Chris Johnson was really bad from the Titans, but that was pre you guys.
Yeah, it was.
Jared Wallace.
Jared Wallace. Yeah, that deep voice, too. didn't he? Chris Katan, worst interview we've ever had on the show in our time together. Saturday Night Live, that's all he's really ever done, or a movie that was a spinoff from a Saturday Night Live movie, right?
I'm not saying this. I don't think he's done anything but.
He did an original movie called Corky Romano that was not based.
That was not a spinoff?
It was not a spinoff. He did the.
He did the one where they bobbed the head.
Not the Roxbury.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's done like small parts and other things.
Okay. So he's at the comedy club. So they bring him in studio. And Lance is right. It was basically, all right, Chris Katan with us. Chris, welcome to Birmingham. How are you? I'm doing great, guys. And I think Lance asked the first question was Saturday Night Live.
It was based on that skit because
No.
I think the original part of that skit was it was going to be Alec Baldwin, and then they cut it, and then they had the host with Christopher Walken, and like we're going to use it, and he said you asked a question about that, and then
I
you had to
asked
follow it.
about, I had a follow-up. I was like, but you are in maybe one of the most famous Saturday Night Live skits of all time. You've got a part in the famous Will Ferrell cowbell
Yeah,
scene.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah. And he's like, is all we're going to talk about Saturday Night Live? And I thought what Lance said, I'm like, buddy, I don't know what else to talk to you about. And I've done my homework, too. It's not like I just showed up not knowing anything
I had
about
not
you.
done my homework, and I had nothing that wasn't
Well,
Saturday
it's like
Night
having
Live.
Tony Stewart. I was like, good God, y'all care about racing a lot. What, is there anything else?
Well, I mean, so Chris Katan should have told us before, and we just wouldn't have done the interview because Molly Ringwald was like, you're not going to talk about 80s movies. And we're like, oh, we're not going to do the interview.
We're not talking to Molly Ringwald.
We passed on Molly Ringwald because she didn't want to talk about the 80s. I was
So
like, well, what the hell are we going to talk about?
We literally
your
did that
your
with Chris
great Broadway career?
He's like, is all we're going to talk about Saturday Night Live? And then he answered the question. I think we all looked at one another, and I can't remember which one of us. Was it you, Dunaway?
I think it was smart ass.
444-0008. We'll see you guys tonight.
LT, tell them how they can get tickets.
That's right, Chris.
All
Thank you for
right.
coming to the studio. And honestly, like
More SEC football when we come
I know.
back.
As I remember it, he was like, all right, guys, thanks, and just got up and
Well, no,
left. I don't remember it being like super awkward when
No,
he left.
Laurel actually got a video of him walking to the elevator, and she actually got him to do the not the Roxbury head bob. He was very hesitant, but she got him to do that. It was like he gave her more personality than he gave us.
Yeah, I will never understand that about him. Like, I mean,
Is
look
he
at,
dead?
No, he's
No,
not.
he looked like it when
Yeah,
he came in
looked- he
studio
looked,
forever ago.
Yeah.
Very thin, light
Yeah.
little guy.
Yeah, I that Lance. I mean, it was. I think it came across. Everybody noticed it on the air because anybody that's watched our show or listened to our show knows we're not going to do 2 questions with a comedian and be done with it. So they knew how awkward it was. But really, with him, it wasn't like crazy awkward.
But you know, the whole genesis of the 4 of us being together was an awkward setup.
Oh, was it?
Because we had to go to Pasadena and work in a show with a guy that we were 98% sure they were going to let go to replace with me and Brown.
Yeah, I never really felt it. I thought it was more on me being awkward because, you guys didn't really have any interaction with him before. And so he was still going to like dinner with me. And so it was uncomfortable in that regard. And we powered through it, but I thought the shows went good.
No, the shows were good. I remember actually they were surprisingly good.
Yep.
And we had a good time together.
Unfortunately, one person was going to get voted off the island.
Yeah.
And the next week, I got a text from him and a call from him. It's like, can you put a lot of stuff on a thumb drive? I need some stuff. And I had to meet him at a parking lot with his kids in the car. And he's like, hadn't shaved in 3 days. And I'm giving him like,
so
here's
sad.
some stuff for a highlight reel. Like, I'm like, this is awful.
Yeah, no, that was a bad situation. None of us really wanted it to play out that way, but it did. And I think it was awkward for everybody involved. Like, I think he knew too, don't you?
I think he's doing well, though.
Yeah, he landed on his feet.
Probably better because of, sometimes
Probably, yeah.
one door shuts and a window opens.
Right.
Is that the saying?
That's perfect. There's some rope.
Are you done? Is that all your awkward
The
moments?
tattoo, Leighton's tattoo.
Oh,
I was going for that,
awkward?
too.
Was that awkward or one of the
I
greatest
didn't
moments
think it
in
was
show history?
awkward.
It was
I was just like, I was blown away.
Yeah.
Just because she had told me before.
Yeah.
Again, she's an adult now.
Yeah.
I mean, she wants to get a tattoo, she get a tattoo. I personally think at 20, And it's so subtle, so I don't think she's going to regret that. But, there's some people that get sleeve tats at 20, and I'm like, I just don't know if that's the best decision. But I was just really surprised that you guys all knew, and I didn't.
I was on vacation.
She had texted me asking me where I got mine, and I was like, it has been years. I don't even know. I know one place you don't need to go, and I was like, what are you getting? And she said she's thinking about getting something. She didn't really tell what she was telling. Then she came in that day saying that she got it. And then I said, well, I don't think your dad knows. And he's like, really? And then she goes in to do trash, and then
she knew that Dad didn't know.
Yeah.
I did not know until she said it right here, that moment. I mean, it was a live, real reaction, and I was like, oh my, because I'd heard you talk so much about tattoos.
And I get nervous now when she's like, hey, I need to talk to you about something, because I got that text earlier this week, and I told you guys that she did the PowerPoint presentation of moving downtown. But when you hear that from your daughter after the tattoo, I'm like, oh, damn, what's coming next?
Yeah. Now, I was on vacation, and when I go on vacation, I do my best to unhook from the phone because I stay so hooked to it, right? And I'll never forget, I don't know what we were doing that day, but I'll never forget picking my phone up, and there were like 30 texts, like, oh my God, Leighton, oh my God, like, did you see, tell me you were watching, or something like that. And I'm like, what in the world happened? Like, none of them gave me any context whatsoever. They were just all, that was the greatest moment in show history, or something like that. I'm like, what the crap have I missed? And I did have to go dig and find it. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
But it felt awkward in here, or?
I didn't think, I was so surprised.
Front door.
Yeah. No. I loved it. I was just the only awkwardness was waiting to see how he was going to react, and he could have made it awkward if he was not a super dad.
Hemp Hill.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we did. We did a live spot right after.
Of course we did.
Speaking of tattoos.
Yeah. So tell us, LT, are you running hot or cold right now?
Listen, we've had more awkward moments than we can recount.
God, I hope we have a lot more.
They'll continue.
They'll continue.
I hope so.
We'll revisit this topic. Trust me, we'll be back to this. We do appreciate you joining us for the Mystery Fifth Hour. It's presented by McCurry Van and Car Rental. If you need a car, van, or truck, rent from McCurry. All kinds of vehicles to choose from, including trucks, SUVs, and passenger vans. Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, Coleman, and Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Reserve your rental today from McCurry, 256-559-1003. That's 256-559-1003, or McCurryRentals.com. Please give us a thumbs up, and if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so now. Subscribe and set your alerts so you always know when we're live. And you can follow us on all social media at Next Round Live. Thank you for joining us for the Mystery Fifth Hour.